Morning, I'm Toby Hodges. This is the brand new Arcona 50, the flagship for this Swedish yard, and we have got ideal conditions here off La Rochelle, currently about 12 knots true, and we're going to see just what this performance cruiser racer is all about. Some nice extras on this boat, including this mainfell in-boom furling system and the UK sails as well. I mean, it is very, very neat looking indeed. And a lot of this is born out of Arcona's philosophy to keep a boat easy to manage short-handed. So when you're cruising it, Arcona say all of their yachts should be able to trim, control, manage them with two people on board. And this one has the push button ability to make that happen. This is code zero sailing. We've got about a sort of 1.5 meter swell coming off our aft quarter here, and we've been sitting in about 13, 14 knots true breeze, around about 80 apparent, reaching and averaging 10 knots. So this is just on a Selden manual furler here. And what we're going to do in a minute is furl this away, put the Jenica on the asymmetric on the forward pad eye there, and go further downwind with this swell. So but the asymmetric set now. Still got about 1.5 meters quartering sea with us, but you can see we are trucking along at over 10 knots. And I also wanted to show you something about what it's like down here. Because a real take home for me is as we come right by the mast base and into the forward cabin here, just how quiet it is. That is a pretty calm interior to be in for a boat that is trucking along in double figures. I mean, we are fully powered up here at quite a high angle. There's no creaking, no moving, just the sound of the water sloshing past the hull. So this is a Vinalesta built boat, how they still built, how Arcona have always built them, which is using a galvanized steel grid, which basically forms the framework of the boat. So attached to the back, the keel is bolted directly to the grid. The mast base feeds straight into that steel grid as well. And then the chain plates, the unidirectional fibers from those come down into the frame as well. So that forms the heart of the stiff structure of the boat. And then you've got a Vinalesta hull and deck with Divinacell foam for the, oh look at this, Matricock sailing past the IMOCA 60. Pretty cool. Yeah, watertight bulkheads fore and aft, and Divinacell foam used on the bulkheads. Yeah, Mocha. That's not going faster than us, is it? We are sailing upwind again on the Arcona 50 here into some quite lively swell now. Got a good sort of 2.5 meters waves coming through, punching into them at about 30 degrees apparent, making sort of 7 knots, up to 7.5. A few things to point out on here about the ease of sailing the boat. Well, you can see very little helm needed at all. The helms are twin rudders on this. First time Arcona have done twin rudders, and they're pretty neutral as well. I mean, you even powered up with a code sail as well, or an asymmetric. You only need a finger on there, or just let the wheel go, and it just sort of tracks along. So it's light on the helm, very light on the helm, which would be good for an autopilot, but you need to monitor that in terms of how much power that's. It's a very powerful rig, and how much you're putting into the boat itself, because it tends to get onto this soft chine it's got and then stay at this angle as it goes through the waves and is powered up. Anyway, in terms of controlling that, it's pretty nice, because you see with Joachim straddling the wheel here, it's easy to let off a sheet. With these two controls here, you have the traveller control, so you can dump the traveller down easily or lift it up again. And that's just on a flat winder winch below here. So this is an option to have the traveller, but you see it's easy to move it up and down with no one having to do anything from the helm. And then the other one, two powered one on here, is for that forward winch. So again, you can easily trim from the pedestal to ease, you can let off or to pull in on that. So yeah, it's a wide cockpit, but you have these lifting foot plates as well for the helmsman. So obviously at the other angle, I've done that on the leeward side, a bit confusing, but there is a plate there. Otherwise, you have, a fairly shallow cockpit and very flat decks. But yeah, it certainly tracks well upwind. You're on another asymmetric kite run now. A bit less breeze. We've only got about 10 knots of breeze now. Bit of swell. But it's an easy deck to walk around. When you have this modern flat deck style, it's easy to get through. And also Arcona, as I might have mentioned before, they like a main and a jib. So the standard is to have a self-tacking jib. That's why that rail is here. This one has longitudinal rails for a slightly overlapping jib, but it also means you can have outboard shroud base, so easy to get through on the side decks there, and that keeps outboard shrouds straight, the chain plates down to the framework, keeps a nice stiff rig as well, and when you've got a big sail plan like that, helps. A few options this boat has. It's got this flexi teak on the deck, has a powered electric furler there for the jib itself. Obviously the sails are an extra, and this is a painted aluminium john mast, and this one has this, also from Denmark, this main furl in-boom furling system. So that is a GRP built boom. You can get it in carbon, and if you look in there, the actual mandrel is carbon as well. It's a pretty neat system, really. It's a good looking boom, nice shape, not too big, and has, on our trials, proven pretty easy to use as well. It's a costly option. I think it's around 40,000 euros for this size boat to have that. But again, it helps this concept of being able to manage a fast cruising yacht with a couple of people from the helm. So from this angle, you can probably see again the modern shape. So flat coach roof, fairly low cockpit really. You've got about a foot on those cockpit combings. This here is a well for spray hood, which will obviously give you some protection that you'll need in that cockpit. And then a wide aft open transom. So they are looking at giving a canvas option for anyone that wants to close off, but you can't have a sealed transom option on this. It's only open. And the reason, again, also for this shape is for a tender garage as well. So once you go with the decision to have a tender garage, which You know, it comes down to the design, styling of the boat and the target. You know, as in Arcona see this boat used a lot in the Mediterranean and in the Baltic Seas, and at this size to be at anchor quite a lot as well. So people needing their dinghy. So they didn't want to have, when they've made such a stylish design, to then want to have davits off the back of the boat. So have a dinghy garage that helps define the beam of the boat as well, and also for the twin rudders. And then obviously once you've got a tender garage, you can store things within there as well. Lovely sailing now. So still only got about 10, 11 knots true breeze. Sailing quite high here at 60 degrees apparent. And making about 9 to 9.5 knots, depending on when you get onto these swells, which never really seem to show up on camera very well, but what I'm looking at there is about a 2 to 3 meter, so 6 to 8 foot sort of size wave that's coming across. Short, sharp waves. Can't quite get onto them to surf, but they give you a little lift every now and again. So when you have a big yacht like this and you decide to bring everything to 2 winches to make it easy to shorthand it, yeah, a negative side of it is obviously the line tails. You end up with a lot of rope in your cockpit. So you can see here, they do have these lockers here with little deep wells in there, but it still means you have to be disciplined about coiling them up and stowing them away. Obviously, you know, with a spinnaker up now, you've got a lot of halyard there, you've got lots of sheet as well. So you want to just keep it out of, especially if you do have a traveller, keep it out of that well as well. But the net gain is, you know, being able to trim the boat from the helm is arguably worthwhile. So as well as the styling of the exterior, the interior also just shows straight away about the direction Arcona want to go. They are a traditional Swedish yard, and their yachts up until now have been traditional Swedish, you know, mahogany style interiors. And this is very much a modern style. Ariadne Pons doing the interior styling, Niels Jeppesen doing obviously the exterior design, and that is because Arcona really want to push the direction it's going into a much more international clientele. So this, yeah, very nice, light, bright, and in keeping with, I guess, the competition, you know, a 3x3+2 cabin layout, but, you know, in light timber trim, colours, using the shelvings. There's lots of indirect lighting. I'll switch that off because it was flickering with my camera rate. And you can see in the aft cabins as well, either twins or doubles, plenty of space back there. In terms of layout options, well, I guess the main choice you can make is to have this part of the galley sealed and open there into the saloon, so it joins that. So you have this more sort of U-shaped part in it here, which I guess will be the more popular choice. Let me see if on here there might be a GA in the brochure. Yeah, okay, so here you can have, that's what I mean, that part of the galley sealed and open to the saloon, or as we have it there. So yeah, then your only other choice really is whether you're having twins in the aft or doubles. It's nav station set up here with a swing out stool, and that leaves a big saloon area there. So a good amount of space given to the cabins and the living area itself. So you see we are spinnaker sailing here. In terms of moving around the boat, you have handrails coming down the companionway and a good grab rail there. I could probably do with adding one going along the headline in there as well, because you do have one on the outside, but that's obviously, don't want too many people grabbing hold of that because that's part of the lighting and the furniture. So nice and quiet though. And bright and light, loads of natural light coming in, nice big forward coach roof window there. and hull windows, plus your 2 big overhead flush hatches there. Plenty of ventilation through those. So as we potter back in under engine into port on the Arcona 50, good time to show you a few more of the features in detail on the interior here. So yeah, the noise is because we are under engine, so we'll go up and down a bit because we're manoeuvring. So this is the light oak finish. They offer 2 trim options, this and mahogany, and it's a light mahogany. They deliberately choose it light and they stain both the woods before they varnish them. But it's been done very nicely. Something I quite like really is this nav station, which for a 50-footer is fairly compact, but it works well as a sort of office come work area. So this stool obviously swings out, and then you've got your normal chart table, electronics and stuff, but underneath, really nice to have access to all the fuel. Look at that, lit up as I open up the doors as well, to the breakers and the fuses. Very neatly done. And as I may have mentioned, Arcona do everything in-house. Everything bar the stainless steel work, I think, but all of the woodwork and the corian and that sort of thing, all done by the yard. In the saloon, you have to starboard here a sort of thicker pile, sort of comfier sofa seats. And what that means is, you know, that's your place for relaxing. This bench seat acts as a puff. So you open that up, it's got storage in there, unscrew these, and the whole thing shifts this side so you can put your feet up on it. Or obviously use it around the table to seat, I don't know, 8 people if you needed to. That table obviously designed to fill that gap, so if you wanted to, you'd choose one that would lower into there as a big sort of daybed area. Beneath these sofas, there's largely storage space. This one you could take an extra freezer or fridge below there, but otherwise there's a couple of system access to systems areas. There's lithium batteries below the nav station and below here. And this has a big lithium battery bank, and then behind this one you've got the transformer inverters and a black box for the Ethernet system as well. Yeah, so this boat has 3 lithium batteries, 640 amp hours at 24 volts, so a lot of battery capacity. That is a pressurized tank for the freshwater system, which means you're essentially stopping it, having that noisy drrrr in the middle of the night when someone goes to the heads or uses a tap. So a nice feature to have. There is really good indirect lighting. As I mentioned before, but it does affect the frame rate, so it flickers away. So I've turned them off. But that is a TV, and see it's a frame behind. So it's a new Samsung one. And so instead of, basically you can have whatever picture you want up there to make it look like a photo or something, and it means you don't need to use that space behind there for a lifting mechanism for it. So they've got a bit of extra space they might use for a wine cellar or something in there. Another Arcona feature is to have, an integral handrail there. But if that is quite a long way away with a beamy boat, so you can choose to put a handrail on the headlining as well. Good use of using these top-down lockers right through the boat on gas hinges. And then moving forward into the owner's cabin. You get a compact double cupboard here, outboard, but which is ventilated up above there. It's quite short, so they put in this extra sort of almost like a trotter box really, so if you had longer garments or dresses or whatever to hang, they could do so in there. All the lights, every light is dimmable as well. A bit more stowage below in drawers and cupboards. But this is the real chief storage area there. It's, as I say, it's just really easy to lift up one-handed, and then you've got loads of stowage, plus the drawers beneath with the bow thruster further forward of there. Really good natural light. Double opening hatches there, both aft for regulation purposes. Whereas in the saloon, they butterfly open for ventilation. All the reading lights have 12 volts on them. Again, these stowage and all these raised lockers surrounding the berth. And then a nice size electric loo, separate heads compartment, separate shower compartment. There's a black water tank behind here, and access to seacocks in that one. Just a bit of stowage below the sink as well. Bow thruster going on now as we manoeuvre in marina. The tanks are all below and centre in the saloon here. 385 litres of fuel, 375 litres of water, I think. And you can add extra 150 litre of either or of those. But most are probably going to choose a generator and water maker on this size boat. That extra stowage below the sink here is on purpose, so you can choose to have a dishwasher in there or an extra fridge. Nice slide out drawer there, space. I think if you had the extra fridge, you could access it from here as well. And then in the galley itself, GN Eastbass oven. A nice feature of the GN Eastbass Gastronorm is if you have a hot dish in there, it's designed to fit in. That's quite hard to do this one hand. There we go. Like that. Rest it in the sink whilst you're going along at heel or whatever, and also the other way around, it will fit on the top as well. And they do a whole range of things that work like that. You can also choose whether you have induction cooking or gas cooking, obviously. Stowage space and bank of 4 drawers there on the inboard side. And then you've got this fiddled area around here. They might put another handrail in there for moving forward in the boat. It's not corian, but it's the same sort of material. And then you have one lift top fridge with 2 access points to it. This is a standard one, but for future they are going to customize it so the stowage goes quite a lot deeper, and you get another few litres, or another 40 odd litres in there, I'm told. Bit of stowage space behind, and again these raised lockers for your crockery. And then those windows there, coach roof windows, open for ventilation. This is a neat feature. It's just easy to say if you're at the sink, or you're cooking, you just use your knee there, and it pops out the bin area below to sweep into, or put your odds and ends into. Extra stowage below, and a bit more in the bilge. And then another bank of 4 drawers on the outboard side on soft closing. Aft cabins, as I mentioned before, I think have either twin or doubles, or like this, a fill-in option. So you can have a proper double bed, or if you want to choose the twin option, you can go for these fill-ins here. So that is designed to put in here, which I shall try and do so now. And there we go. There's one I prepared later. Again, good natural light. All windows have blinds on them. More raised locker stowage there. And access points into the engine room from each side, but I'll show you from under the companionway. And the main access into the service area, the generators from the starboard side of the boat. So this is the heads and shower compartment as it is. They're thinking about making that door opening outwards, so you don't basically have to maneuver yourself in here before you close the door. Well, as it is, you get a good separate shower area with a prop up wet hanging locker. But for those that want to choose a washer dryer, that would go in here. And then starboard aft cabin, much the same as the port aft, only just a single locker on this side. But it has this access into the service area, which I'll open up now. And there's the Fisher Panda 10,000 genset in here. And you can just get at the aft end of the sail drive, which we'll have a look at now. Companionway steps, lift on these gas struts for access to the sail drive. And you can see this engine is hogging pretty much that entire space, because this is the upgraded 110 horsepower. Standard is an 80 horsepower, which should be fine for this size boat. But for those that want the extra grunt, we've just been using the engine, and at about 2,000 revs, it was giving us 7.5 knots. But it means that if you want it, you can get up to 10.5 knots on this. So it's not necessarily the extra speed, but the torque as well. So the extra grunt when you need it, if you're going into a swell or something, and the delivery crew coming from the Southampton boat show to here said that was really useful when motor sailing into winds and swell. I mean, this is a big new boat for Arcona, and it really shows a marked different direction for them. It's very much trying to appeal to a bigger international audience, using Arcona's core values of fast cruising, lightweight, stiff builds. They are building a lot of it in-house, and the finished quality looks very good indeed. However, they've deliberately put themselves in a much busier marketplace with this sort of modern design look, interior and exterior. So they've got, they're pitching themselves against quite a broad competition base. People like Solaris, brands like Solaris, Swan, X-Yachts, obviously, and Grand Soleil. Pricing wise, this starts at 879,000 euros. So the boat we're on is about 1.1 million ex-VAT. It's a lot. It's a luxury vessel, premium pricing. It sails and handles very, very well. So time will tell. Will the winner take it all? Hope you enjoyed the tour. Really enjoyed the sail. See you soon.